Yes, I think as a general rule, you can tell which side is the good side and which side is the bad side by which side wishes to restrict freedom of speech. That's one of the signs that they are the bad guys.
So the key takeaway there, of course, is that the Liberal Party is wicked and evil because they hate free speech. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to American Advocates for more. All right, obviously I'm just playing there. The real key takeaway there is what's happening when it comes to the European Union right now and the platform X, formerly known as Twitter, owned by Elon Musk. This Business Insider article highlights this. Elon Musk's X fined $140 million by the European Union over deceptive blue check marks. And it's not actually over deceptive blue check marks. That's the EU's weaselly way of being able to wage war against Elon Musk for not promoting censorship on his X platform and not restricting free speech at the request of these sinister, uber-liberal, disgusting European countries. That's what they're really after. Elon Musk won't cater to them, and so they want to punish him with this $140 million fine, of course, but they don't want to outright say, we're fining you for not censoring free speech, because that makes them look like absolute dicks. And so instead, they're waging war on his blue checkmark system. According to the European Union, it is too easy to be able to gain a blue checkmark, and they just can't stand that. So they're going to fine him $140 million. That's the story they're going with. The European Union said on Friday it had issued a fine of 120 million euros, $140 million to X over a number of violations, including the deceptive design of the site's blue checkmarks. Earlier on Friday, Musk reposted an X post from the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, who warned the European Union against fining Musk's company and said the bloc should avoid attacking American companies over garbage. The European Union launched its investigation into X 2 years ago under its landmark Digital Services Act, or DSA. In its decision on Friday, the European Commission, the EU's regulatory arm, said the ability for anyone to pay for a verified checkmark makes it difficult for users to assess whether an account is authentic, leaving them open to scams and impersonation fraud. Give me a break. The Tesla CEO has been highly critical of the EU's attempts to regulate social media companies. Good for him. In response to a preliminary finding by the European Commission last year, Musk accused the regulator of censoring free speech and called the Digital Services Act misinformation. Do not be fooled by this. This is a war on free speech from the European Union. It's not about blue check marks. And how do I know this? It's because they had sent letters to Elon Musk that he did not keep confidential, that he blatantly plastered all over social media when he got them, where they were requesting him, before Trump was president at the time, I believe, they were requesting him to censor himself in his interview with President Donald Trump and to be careful with what information he allowed to be put out when it came to that interview. You can see here in this letter from the European Commission to Elon Musk, I am writing to you in context of recent events in the United Kingdom and in relation to the planned broadcast on your platform X of a live conversation between a U.S. presidential candidate and yourself, which will also be accessible to users in the European Union. In this context, I am compelled to remind you of the due diligence obligations set out in the Digital Services Act here in the European Union. As the individual entity ultimately controlling a platform with over 300 million users worldwide, of which 1/3 are in the EU, you have a legal obligation to ensure X's compliance with the European Union law, and in particular, the Digital Services Act in the European Union. This notably means ensuring, on one hand, that freedom of expression and information, including media freedom and pluralism, is effectively protected, and, on the other hand, that all proportionate and effective mitigation measures are put in place regarding the amplification of harmful content in connection with relevant events, including live streaming, which, if unaddressed, might increase the risk profile of X and generate detrimental effects on civic discourse and public security. This is important against the background of recent examples of public unrest brought about by the amplification of content that promotes hatred, disorder, incitement to violence, or certain instances of disinformation. And that right there is truthfully what it was all about and always has been about. They hate Elon Musk for buying X. They hate President Donald Trump for restoring America to glory, or at least attempting to. and they overall hate the conservative movement for protecting freedoms and liberties of its people. This is why over in these countries, some conservative politicians are blatantly jailed for their stances in politics. They continue to restrict free speech in their countries, the UK along with them, and they sent this letter out to Elon Musk before he was set to interview President Donald Trump to remind him that they consider what they call disinformation as very offensive and very dangerous to their society. You see, that's how they do it. That's how they restrict free speech. They label any speech they don't like as hatred, misinformation, or dangerous extreme rhetoric, when truthfully, none of it is. There's only one thing when it comes to free speech that should be outlawed, and that is using free speech to incite violence. That's the only time that I agree with restricting free speech. Otherwise, here on this channel as an American advocate, I am completely a free speech absolutist. Now, of course, just like what we're seeing with anything else that people don't want to be popular, promoting it, making a big deal out of it, only serves to make it more popular. So Elon Musk is reporting that X is seeing record-breaking downloads now in many countries in Europe after the EU fined the company $140 million. Elon has, of course, also taken to social media many times over to tweet and retweet information that points to new statistics and data showing that X is now the #1 news source, not just in America anymore, but in dozens of countries worldwide. I wonder what the appeal could be. Could it be that you don't have to worry too much on X as opposed to all of these other social media platforms that hate your free speech? You don't have to worry about being banned for posting your opinions and beliefs. I wonder, is that why? Could that be why X is the #1 news source in all of these countries now? And if you don't believe me about the war on free speech happening in the United Kingdom and the European Union, just take a look at this.
A woman has been arrested by Cheshire police in relation to an inaccurate information on social media.
Today, some other people have been given whopping great big terms in prison for social media posts.
I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online.
Scotland's new hate crime laws have come into force. Some people could be investigated by police if they misgender someone online.
How many people do you think were arrested in Britain for things they said on social media last year?
I've no idea.
3,300.
Really?
Police will be the source of truth and not social media.
It just continues to get worse and worse out on the front lines of what I call Western civilization, the United Kingdom and Europe. They truly do hate free speech, and they truly are a massive, overly liberal, radicalized collection of societies continuing to oppress their people more and more year by year. And if you think America is immune to this, think again.
The U.S. is a tough one because, you know, we have the notion of the First Amendment.
There are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda, and whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence.
If people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block. It's really hard to govern today.
So my biggest concern is that your view has the First Amendment hamstringing the government in significant ways.
The First Amendment is not absolute. It does not protect any single thing anyone says.
That is why this is so important. And that is why it is so important that the Trump administration take this battle to the European Union. I don't for the life of me understand why any of the big tech companies, all of which, by the way, or most of which certainly, are founded here in America. Why is Facebook beholden to European Union laws? X, why are they beholden to these laws? If I was Elon Musk, I wouldn't pay the fine. And in fact, I would pull X out of the European Union entirely. All social media platforms should follow suit on that. Any country that reaches out to these platforms and tries to dictate to them how they run things, what they censor or don't censor, including Americans, should pull out of that country immediately. Watch what happens if companies start doing that. You will see a full-scale revolt from the citizens of those countries attempting to censor us and continuing to censor their own people. It's already happened in some other third world countries where their government established power and then attempted to restrict free speech, attempted to ban social media in some cases. It led to actual revolts. Secretary of State Marco Rubio addressed this issue on X the other day. The European Commission's $140 million fine isn't isn't just an attack on X, it's an attack on all American tech platforms and the American people by foreign governments. The days of censoring Americans online are over. Furthermore, President Donald Trump's new national security strategy actually has addressed this. In it, it states that continental Europe has been losing share of global GDP, down from 25% in 1990 to just 14% today. It also states the economic decline is eclipsed by the real and more stark prospect of civilizational erasure. That is, of course, due to their ridiculously stupid immigration policies out there. The larger issue facing Europe includes activities of the European Union and other transnational bodies that undermine political liberty and sovereignty. And it goes on to state that should present trends continue, the continent will be unrecognizable in just 20 years' time or less. It's a real and dangerous threat, and I'm going to cover that new national security strategy as my top story up next, tying it back into the Venezuelan drug boats and bridging the gap right now, as well as bridging the gap on this whole free speech crisis, because it covers all of that. It's truly the best gift President Donald Trump could have given Americans for Christmas this year. But in regards to the European Union, they have made a $140 million mistake that the Trump administration is not going to let go. Neither will Elon Musk. And it's only going to come back to bite them. If you agree with that statement, be sure to subscribe right now to American Advocates for more. Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are on all of this. How should the Trump administration handle this? How should big tech handle this? Do you agree with my statement? Should big tech pull out of these countries to make the ultimate statement? If not, what should they do? Let me know, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that clip, be sure to check out my YouTube channel where I have the full video where this clip was taken from published. And if you're America First like I am and you're an American advocate, be sure to subscribe and like the post. Thanks so much for watching.